Welcome everyone to this exciting game in the Join Dota League. Pander here as we get to cast R.R.Qeon versus Titan. R.R.Qeon on the Radiant side, running an Ember Spirit, Sand King, and Crystal Maiden tri-lane down bottom. This will be one of our first looks at Ember Spirit as he's just been added to the Captain's mode fairly recently. Alchemist is going to be taking up the mid lane for R.R.Qeon. And in the off lane they get Timbersaw, which should be up against a very powerful tri-lane coming from Titan, as it's going to be Mirana, Rubick, and the Chen holding down the top lane, Queen of Pain running through the middle, and an Elder Titan going to be in the off lane for Titan. Kind of fitting that they want to put him in there, and he is a favorite of their team, considering they like to pick him up and use him in the burst combos, which we're going to see fairly heavily this game, considering they have a lot of burst on the Titan side of things. Bottom lane should be a very easy lane for the Ember Spirit. I don't expect to see Elder Titan able to contest him at all. He might get a little bit of harass in, but not enough to really push him away. I fully expect the Crystal Maiden and Sand King to do a lot of jungling. Sand King jungle's gotten fairly popular as of late. Basically, you just stack a camp up once or twice, then run in there with the Burrow Strike and Sandstorm. Usually once you get level 2 or 3, and you can just melt any of these camps. Mid lane is going to be a very hard matchup for Alchemist unless he gets ahead early. He didn't start with a stout shield, so Queen of Pain should be able to harass him down very heavily, as Queen of Pain has significantly higher base damage, has the ability to kite the Alchemist after usually level 2, as most Queen of Pains like to save that first point in case it's really needed. But by the position of Crystal Maiden and Sand King, I fully expect a smoke gank. Sand King does have one smoke on him, and there we go, popping it. There's no way they'd be in this position if they weren't going to try a level 1 gank on the Queen of Pain. And oof, not very good for Queen of Pain, as she has picked up Shadow Strike level 1. She didn't go with a blink, but she might be able to spot him out. She is up on the high ground, so she does have a little bit of time. She will see the Crystal Maiden, but a little off, as Crystal Maiden does get the slow, and there's the stun follow-up. Should be a pretty easy kill on the Queen of Pain, but she might get away. Alchemist, not fast enough. And turning the corner, Queen of Pain does go down. Not sure that he would have gotten that if Queen of Pain just kept darting down. But it looks like Alchemist is going to go deny himself to Roshan. Excellent play there by the Alchemist. Actually able to get that kill, and very unfortunate for the Queen of Pain, as she just didn't save that 1 point, wanting to get harassment early. And that's just something you really can't do against a very powerful support set. And Crystal Maiden just going to the jungle, going to be able to jungle it up. As the top lane, Timbersaw should be perfectly fine. He's going with that early point and reactive armor, as he basically knew he's going to be harassed out most of this lane. He's not going to get a lot of farm, but he should be able to pick up a lot of experience. There's no way to really stop him. Same thing with the Elder Titan in the bottom lane. They really can't go on him unless they want to waste a lot of time and resources. And Sand King and Crystal Maiden get more out of the jungle than they do running in and getting a good gank off on the Elder Titan. He's just very hard to kill, and they don't have a ton of damage. They've got a great amount of CC on the side of R.R.Qeon in this bottom lane, but it's just not enough damage at this point. But we're going to see Elder Titan being gone. He has been rooted down. Going to take a lot more. Sand King comes in, does some good damage, and it should be the death of Elder Titan. So they did have enough overall. Just waiting for that Ember Spirit to hit level 3, get the second point in that Flame Shield, was all they really needed. And so far, R.R.Qeon off to a great start. They aren't CSing particularly well, as Queen of Pain and Chen lead up the creep kill boards. But they've been picking up kills, and they even had one kill that could have happened, denied to Roshan, as the Alchemist made a smart move to just run in there. Queen of Pain doing a good bit of harassment on the Alchemist, considering the Alchemist did pick up First Blood. The Alchemist just doesn't have the ability to stay in this lane for too long. Queen of Pain just way too strong for him. And I really think the lack of a stout shield is hurting him this game, as that's a lot of harassment with every single auto attack that Queen of Pain puts out. Alchemist does have the advantage of the double damage run at the moment, but I don't think that's going to keep him alive for long, as it looks like Chen has smoked up and will be running towards the mid lane. Does have the Dark Troll Summoner. Question is, will he be able to get it off? Elder Titan actually pulling the creep wave that was going for a double pull. But it looks like Alchemist in a lot of trouble. Troll comes forward, gets a very nice net, and that should be an easy kill on the Alchemist. Chen picks it up, and that evens the game at 2-2, but one of those kills was a deny. Top lane, Timbersaw playing very aggressively, just juking around the minions and running around, being a real pain in the rear. The 2 points in Timber Chains, and likely going to be 2 points in the reactive armor soon, keeping him alive, but he's playing incredibly greedy. This line of in will pick up Rubick, completely worth it on the side of Recon. But Timbersaw, playing greedy and making it work, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're on the side of Recon. Getting off to an early start, as I feel they kind of need to get off to a bit of an early advantage, just to buy room for the Ember Spirit, who's doing a good job in this bottom lane. Elder Titan, a lot of troubles. We see the 2 supports from Recon rotating in this bottom lane. They have smoked up, and it looks like they're going to go in there, but Elder Titan will be caught. Not sure he's in a position where he's going to be killed at this point, as he's pretty far behind that tier 2. But he said he goes out, tries to pick up the kill on the Sand King, and it's not going to be enough. There is no rotation in on the side of Titan. And a very well played kill by Recon, just diving the tower. Elder Titan could have stayed alive if he just ran. I don't think Ember Spirit would have caught up, but he instead went greedy for the kill and paid the price for it. So far, 4-2 is the score, as both teams are looking to find some mid-game action. This Ember Spirit off to a good start, likely to go with phase boots at this point, as he has picked up that Claw of Attack, and likely into either the Battle Fury build or just kind of the mid-game drums split push build, as those have been the 2 really popular ones. You go drums into Mountaineer and basically just split push away and make sure that your team has all the map open. It's incredibly, both builds are incredibly powerful. I favor Battle Fury, as I think you can outfarm anyone and carry late on the side of Recon, as the Ember Spirit is one of the better carries in this game. Queen of Pain is going to be the big factor, though, as we move forward. She really needs to get going. She has farmed incredibly well and denied this Alchemist, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough, as she's the best carry on the side of Titan. Mirana is good, but I don't think she's good enough at this point if they're going to go late against the Ember Spirit. He's just such a powerful champion. Chen has grouped up top, and it's going to be a fairly easy push. I don't see the Timbersaw able to really stop it at this point. If he's level 6, he could slow it down, but no real reason to go up against this. 2 Dark Troll Summoners, you just run. Play it safe, run, don't give up the kill and the tower. And it looks like we're going to have 5 members up top as Elder Titan rotates, trying to find a kill, but with the lack of real initiation in this top lane, it should be pretty hard for either side to pick up a kill. Great move summoning all those Skeleton Warriors to just tank up the tower. But it looks like Crystal Maiden will get caught out with an arrow and picked off by Rubick. Timbersaw going to be thrown back, but I think he's a little too tanky to be killed. Nice Burrow Strike as the Ember Spirit joins forces, and they pick up an easy kill on Mirana. Another kill on the Elder Titan, who's not having a good game so far, and they are going to pursue out just a little bit. So 2 kills for 1 in a tower. I have to give that edge to Recon, just because I don't think this tower was going to live long either way. They could have easily killed the tower on the side of Titan and backed up. They just played it really greedy for those kills and didn't recognize that the rotation was coming in. And it was a good move to rotate in early so the Ember Spirit could come in with a fairly quick teleport. Same thing with the Sand King. They both were able to get shorter teleports because Crystal Maiden came in so early in that engagement with her own teleport. Push going to come in the mid lane as Alchemist and Crystal Maiden are going to go for it. But Elder Titan here, as we do have another kill up top. But it is going to be Crystal Maiden likely to fall, or maybe not. A Sand King comes with a good Burrow Strike. Not level 6, or that would have been a very dead Queen of Pain. But she does go down anyways. And Elder Titan going to fall as well. Huge lead for Recon as they dominate this game so far. Up top, Ember Spirit picked off the Mirana, and Mirana not doing particularly well. She has good farm, but that's not enough from Mirana. You really need to pick up kills, and this is going to be a very powerful push from the Ember Spirit, as it looks like he has decided to go for the drums build, picking up the Bracer. You don't do that unless you're going drums and not rushing the Battle Fury. And this is definitely Recon's game so far. They have a stronger late game in my opinion, and they're going to have a stronger mid game thanks to some early kills. And unless Titan can find some good rotations and arrows, but Mirana arrow off the mark as they are going to still go for the Alchemist, but they don't have any more CC. He's just a little too fast at this point. Mirana possibly could have gone in there with a leap, but I think that's really greedy. She is maxing the arrow. If you're maxing Starfall or Starstorm, they would have been able to go in there for a bit more harassment and possibly send the Alchemist at least back to base. But Mirana is going for the pick-off build and maxing the arrow. Alchemist has popped the ultimate and going to be continually rushing this middle lane down. I don't see any way for Titan to really find a kill at this point. They don't have any initiation because Eldertide still hasn't put that point in Echo Stomp. He's still not level 6, and that's greatly hurting him. As they need him to really initiate these fights, then line it up with an easy arrow, as it's incredibly easy to land an arrow after 1 or 2 points in the Echo Stomp. You just land one of those, especially in this point in time where not everyone has their phase boots and their other big items. Ember Spirit going to be jumped on, but Rubick has picked up the shield, so he's not going to take full damage, and it should be a very dead Ember Spirit, but he does get a nice jump away. He has just enough mana for one more leap, and will get it off, but miss by the Queen of Pain on her ultimate, though he should be tracked down, as I don't think he can get away from this. He's bottling it up. He does have 3 charges, but nowhere close to enough health, as Queen of Pain picks up a much-needed kill. And that's the first death on the Ember Spirit, who's 4-1-1, doing a really good job of surviving and thriving in this bottom lane. He's rotated well, and Queen of Pain might be in a bit of trouble as you have a rotation from the Crystal Maiden and Sand King. Sand King is level 6. He wants to use his ultimate. And it will be Queen of Pain in a lot of trouble. First strike does land. Ultimate going to come out. And there's no jump for at least a few seconds. Queen of Pain will not get it off. Her blink not there in time. Very nice kill by the Sand King. And the Sand King should have a pretty early blink if he keeps this up. He's done a great job so far of just finding pickoffs. And he does have 1 kill, but 7 assists, being part of most of his team's work this game. Up top, we're going to have Timbersaw in a bit of trouble as they have a bunch of Centaurs grouping up. And he should be able to get out of this if he does get a good Timber Chains, but he does not go for it. They had the net from the Dark Troll Summoner. Just well played, bringing all those CC creeps. As Chen has been really lucky this game, picking up all the creeps with crowd control ability. There haven't been that many non-crowd control creeps. And he's needed them, as he's picked up several Dark Troll Summoners and Centaurs this game. And that's definitely allowed him to gank and keep his team in this game. He's 3-2 and has pretty good CS overall, as he's sitting at 43 minions killed. They're mostly jungle minions, but still, that's a lot compared to the Timbersaw and Alchemist, who are just not farming particularly well, even though they're still up there in the charts. They really need to be a bit higher at this point, as Alchemist is going for the mech. I like the decision. There are no other really good mech carriers on his team. Crystal Maiden could have picked it up, but it would have been so late that it might not have been even worth it. She's not getting a lot of farm. Queen of Pain looks to be picking up the Orchid, and I like this decision against the Ember Spirit. They really need that silence to prevent him from just jumping and running away. Should be an easy tier 1 tower in the bottom lane by this Ember Spirit. No real contention for this tower, though it looks like there might be a smoke, and there it is. As Rubick is going to jump down bottom, and it's going to be an easy kill on the Alchemist, just caught out of position. Well played overall, and this might mean Titan just needs to run at this point. I don't see any way they're going to want to fight this, but they are going to jump in there. Sand King doesn't have his ultimate. There is a nice ward being placed. Rubick has stolen the Alchemist ultimate along with the Flame Shield, and that's an easy kill as they pick up 1, pick up 2 so far, and it's going to be Crystal Maiden going down. 3 picked up as Sand King falls as he tried to deny himself, and it looks like Ember Spirit might be picked up, but I don't think they're going to have enough CC to do so. And Titan making a comeback as they picked up 4 kills for none, and they weren't even harmed significantly in that engagement. They really needed the Ember Spirit to join that fight. He's their most farmed member by pretty far, and that's just a little too greedy. Go for the tower. You don't really need to fight that. And RR.Qeon definitely is in trouble after that. They gave away way too much ground, and I don't think we're going to see a fight with this tier 1 unless RR.Qeon gets there really quick. As soon as that engagement's over, we'll take a look at the graphs. I'm really curious to see how much has changed. Queen of Pain bumping into the Alchemist, and they are going to back up on the side of Titan. Good move. Play it safe. You just got a big gold and experience swing. And yeah, about 2,000 gold, or more than 2,000 gold, really. And experience over 3,000 just from that one engagement. That's really huge at this point. Titan was looking pretty bad overall. Just not getting advantages anywhere on the map. But now they've picked it up, and it's going to be the Alchemist going to go down. Don't see any way he can survive, as he just got way too greedy. And this Rubick stealing everything important, as he's going to be able to jump around the map at this point and create those awesome looking Rubick clones. And that's a great way to initiate. If you can throw one of those out and catch someone off guard, just hit him with a telekinesis and you can easily set up a kill. Don't think he's going to get much of an opportunity to do so at this point. But those Rubick clones do look awesome, as he does jump in, does get the lift on the Crystal Maiden, but he's immediately stunned. But Sand King not able to get the ultimate off in time. Crystal Maiden pays for it. Ember Spirit doing some good damage, but just not tanky enough, as he does not have that much physical protection at this point. Sand King has bought back and come into the fight, really going to try and turn it around, as they do go for the Queen of Pain, but I don't think he's going to get there. They're going to try and chase down Timbersaw, as he's at very low health and runs right into the Queen of Pain. And that was not worth it by the Sand King. The buyback delaying his Blink Dagger pretty significantly. It cost him a lot of gold. It cost him about 400. As Titan takes the lead in terms of kills, and Ember Spirit not doing particularly well at this point. He's farmed well, but just has not been able to contribute enough in these team fights. He's a strong team fight champion when he builds for it, but he just hasn't at this point in time. He's built a lot of mid-game items, but he's not tanky enough. He's not really doesn't really do enough damage. He's just kind of average at everything considering his build, and that's really going to hurt him going forward. And the entire side of Recon is he doesn't have the ability to farm back in the game like many Battle Fury Ember Spirits go. You basically just have to rely on kills with the build he's going, unless he can pick up something really soon, but I don't expect him to do so. Alchemist also not in a great position. He has mech, but mech is not enough at this point, as he's not particularly tanky, other than he has some decent armor. He just doesn't have enough at this point. And every time he seems to go in these fights, he gets kited around. He's been picked off early at the tower, the tier 1 tower, when they initially pushed in on the side of Titan. In the next engagement, he was just not particularly effective. He's not tanky enough to survive the crowd control, and most of his armor is negated thanks to the Elder Titan, who's finally getting those points and the Echo Stop after maxing Natural Order. And this is definitely looking grim for Recon, unless they can start finding some engagements, as Crystal Maiden pretty weak at this point, only level 6, and at level 6 she is not going to be doing anything anytime soon. Sand King almost to that second level of ultimate at level 9, but incredibly far off on his Blink Dagger thanks to the fact he didn't pick up any kills in that last engagement. Timbersaw going for a Bloodstone after picking up a casual hood, and I like that decision. There's a lot of magic damage coming out in Titan, and it's going to be a big smoke gank. Moonlight Shadow is popped. They're going to run right into the Sand King. Easy kill on him, but he does actually get a nice Burrow Strike, hitting 2, but I don't think he's going to live for long, or maybe he will. Nope, that's Queen of Pain doing so much work. Ember Spirit doing a great job of cleaning that fight up. So far, they have dominated the fight this time, Recon has, as they let Ember Spirit do so much damage. And great turnaround, thanks to the fact Sand King lived just a few extra seconds. Definitely going to be one of the keys to the game right there, is that Sand King Burrow Strike. He was dead to rights, but Titan decided not to kill him off, not burn everything on him, and he got off a perfect Burrow Strike across all the Chen creeps. And that really turned around the fight. He's died in the end, but all things considered, completely worth it. They take out tier 1 tower on the side of Recon, and they should be able to do a lot of work to this tier 2 tower. Don't think they'll kill it, as Queen of Pain will be back up in a moment. She has finished her Orchid, but it was not particularly effective in that last fight. And we'll take a quick look at the gold and experience graph, as it's brought back close to even, as Recon has brought it back about 3,000 gold from that last engagement. Same thing with experience. Huge swing, as this game has been up and down for both sides. And this is definitely looking good for Recon now, where after that last engagement they looked pretty much out of it, considering they wasted at least one buyback, and they wasted a lot for nothing. And this has just been a game of decision making, as it looks like Alchemist was caught out in the bottom lane. Not sure why he'd be there trying to defend this tower, as there's no way he could have defended it. Alchemist not a great tower defender, outside of just throwing down the acid spray and really being more of a deterrent than an actual defender. as it looks like we do have a bit of a pause. Hopefully it'll be quick, as Timbersaw has disconnected. Hopefully he'll be back soon, but this will give us a chance to quickly run down our items. This looks like Ember Spirit building towards the BKB, and I like that decision on him. Going to allow him to basically run around freely in these team fights, as the few times he has entered the team fight, with the exception of the last one, he's been crowd controlled to death and really kited around. The Sleight of Fist still has a pretty long cooldown, as he did not put points into it early. Like most Ember Spirits do, they usually max out the Flame Guard and the Searing Chains, just wanting that long CC and burst combo with the 1 point in Sleight of Fist, but now he's maxing it out so he can use it pretty quickly and pretty often. So he's becoming a big threat. Queen Pain has finished off the Orchid. Not a whole lot. I expect her to be going something like a BKB or Sheep Stick, depending upon how they want to play the game. Ags would not be a terrible option, as it will be a quick resume. Chen has finished off the mech. Has a lot of gold saved up. Not sure exactly what he's going to pick up, but he can pick up pretty much whatever he wants at this point. Looks like Elder Titan going to go down. Basically just sacrificing himself, as I don't see a way for him to really escape outside of landing a good Echo Stomp. Need to start the channel now, and does not get it off in time. It was the right idea,
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
but they do not get the deny on the tower. That's a pretty big win on the side of Titan, considering that she could have been easily denied, as it was just a few creeps last hitting it. So it was a pretty even trade, getting the ensured kill on the Elder Titan versus not denying a tower. And Queen of Pain going to be running down the middle. She has picked something up, and it is the start of what could be a BKB or Aghanim. Both are viable options here. I think BKB would probably be the better choice, as there's a lot of CC on the side of Recon. Mirana likely going for a Lincoln's, as she's getting pretty close to it, but it's still going to be very late in the game. Going to possibly be close to the 23, 24 minute mark at this point, as she's going to have the ultimate orb up fairly soon. And just has not been really getting the kills that she's needed. She's 1, 3, and 7, picking up a lot of assists, but on Mirana, you really need those kills to snowball you ahead, as she's all about that mid-game dominance. And so far, she's done well, just not enough at this point, as the score is tied 17-17. Rubick going to be picking up what looks to be a 4-staff. Love the decision on Rubick to pick that up. They really need a way to engage and disengage on the side of Titan. And he has smoked up along with the Queen of Pain, rotating the bottom lane, but no one is here as Elder Titan just kind of sitting here pushing out the lane. Everyone on the side of Recon is smoked up and heading towards the middle lane. Should be an easy tier 1 tower. No reason to really defend it. They have Mirana here, but she should easily just leap away as soon as she sees everyone on the side of Recon there. And it looks like they're going to do a great job wrapping around, finishing her off real quick. They do not have the ability to lock Titan down at this point. Ember Spirit would be suicidal if he decided to run deeper. Titan going to get a good stomp on 2 and really delay the tower push, but nothing particularly big, as that was easily taken on the side of Recon, exactly what they needed. And this is Titan in a real world of hurt at the moment. Recon has the ability to push this down, but that Ripper will be able to slow this push pretty significantly. And Queen of Pain doing the smart thing in the bottom lane, just pushing out the tower, as Timbersaw does complete that Bloodstone. Zen King will get a good bit of farms. He's getting closer and closer to that Blink Dagger. Not going to be an early one. That buyback really hurting him, as it cost him about 400 gold. And he'd be almost at that Blink Dagger at this point, and they really need it on the side of Recon. They don't have great initiation on their team, outside of Ember Spirit just jumping in with that Sleight of Fist and rooting someone, but it's not particularly reliable initiation at this point, as you really need the blink stun to ensure someone gets locked down, and ensure they just don't leap away, especially if you're trying to kill Mirana, or they don't get any initial CC off like an Elder Titan Stomp to turn a fight around. Looks like Chen could be going Lincolns, or possibly Hex with that Ultimate Orb, and I think a Hex would honestly be a great choice this game, as Titan has a lot of CC, but you can never have enough CC at this point, especially considering only one person's going BKB. Alchemist picked up the Blade Mail, and finally Ember Spirit has that BKB, but still kind of lacks damage at this point. He has a decent amount, but not enough to really carry this game. He's really relying on Sand King hitting that level 11, along with Crystal Maiden getting off a good freezing field if they want to deal enough damage to win a team fight. And that's a risky proposition, if you're an Ember Spirit. You really want to be able to dish out the damage. It looks like they are going to be caught out. And a very nice troll trap. And there's the Echo Stomp, and boom! With the Sacred Arrow, but no real engagement. Excellently played by Titan, and a little bit lucky that Chen's creeps were there to get that root off onto the Sand King. Or he could have possibly engaged with onto Chen. If he didn't get that root off, Sand King would have taken those extra step or two. And Crystal Maiden has picked up a gem. Love this decision. There have not been a ton of wards on the side of Titan, but they're all in really strategic places. An Observer Ward in the middle lane sees where everyone is as they move around. Same thing up here. They just want to keep this middle lane locked down, and it will prevent a lot of side warding, as Titan has a lot of wards in that bottom jungle. RR.Qeon actually had all the middle wards. Excuse me, I misspoke. As they really just want to keep that middle lane locked down, and Titan actually has all these deep jungle wards, and that's really going to be key to Titan's success if they can find and pick off someone with these wards. But I don't think they're going to last too long. Mirana does pop the ultimate running up top, and I don't think they're going to get Timbersaw. He's got a Bloodstone, so he's already pretty tanky. He's just going to teleport away, and it's going to be a pretty easy disengage, so a waste of Moonlight Shadow, but no real big deal at this point. It's only 100 seconds or 120, and they'll have it up before the next real big engagement. Mirana should have her Lincoln Sphere very soon, and that'll definitely help against that initial burst of CC and prevent her from being caught out. She's been caught out several times by good engagements by the Crystal Maiden and Sand King. Sand King should have his Blink Dagger right about now as he finishes off that last bit of creep wave, and will run up to the side shop and pick it off. And this is good time. We see just at level 11, and that's going to be a big turning point for RR.Qeon, as they've done well in these last few fights, but it has not been well enough to really take objectives, as they've only taken the 3 outer towers. Though it has been about the same on the side of Titan. Whenever they took an engagement and won it, they didn't get a whole lot off of it, as neither one of these teams has taken objectives particularly effectively. And this is a big fight on the side of RR.Qeon, as Ember Spirit does rotate in. He does have a DD rune. Mirana there does get a decent stun, but that Lincoln Spear comes in handy, as it does prevent a lot of CC and allows them to back away. Chen with a beautiful ultimate, and Elder Titan takes a lot of damage. Mirana in deep trouble as the Ember Spirit continues to dive. He has the BKB popped, but Queen of Pain is there with a nice slow ultimate thrown out on the Ember Spirit. Now he should go down here, and he does. Sand King does get a good ultimate and a good stun, but it's no kills, 1 for 1 so far. And the fact that Chen had all that healing power is just way too much. And Alchemist likely to go down as well, as Mirana seals the deal. And that is just beautifully played by Titan, turning that around. And there's the arrow, does land on the Timbersaw, and this should be an easy kill. And I believe that was 4 for 1. As Crystal Maiden, I'm not sure if she died or not, as she's already back up. Likely just ran after that kind of terrible initiation. They really just dove too deep on the side of RR.Qeon, and it was beautifully played by Titan. The Ember Spirit's BKB just did not do anything in that engagement. He just kind of ran around with it, not getting a whole lot of auto attacks off, and it really didn't pay off in the end, as they dove too deep, lost basically everyone, and they lost a 10-second BKB charge. And this is really not looking good for RR.Qeon, as it just shows their decision-making skills are a little lacking, and they're really just feeling further ahead than what they are, and they haven't been ahead in some time. They're not behind by too much at this point, but their ability to dive like that kind of says, we think we're further ahead than we are, and they definitely aren't ahead in the slightest. Though they could very well be, if the Ember Spirit decides to pick up a good damaging item here, and I fully expect Desolator to be his next choice. As you go BKB, you really need that Desolator, as Ember Spirit is basically being played like a Templar Assassin at this point, going for all the kind of mid-game items, picking up the BKB, picking up what I would expect to be a Desolator and drums currently. He's playing it very similar to a Templar Assassin, where you just jump in, do your big burst combo, and kind of back away. Though in the last engagement, he just stayed a bit too long and was a bit too greedy. Really expect RR.Qeon to try and find some pickoffs at this point, as Mirana's been fairly vulnerable, as it looks like she's building into a BKB, just going full defensive, and I don't blame her this game. As Queen of Pain has enough damage, she has the BKB of her own, and she's going to be building into the Scythe of Eyes. Chen, still not showing his hand, but with 2,000 gold, I fully expect the Scythe on him. He would have picked up another component of the Lincoln Sphere if that was the route he was going, but definitely a BKB game. Sand King might be in a bit of trouble. The Elder Titan Spirit does run across, but he has the blink. Mirana pops the ultimate, but no one's going to be found as no one was in the area. It was a decent idea, as I fully expected there to be a smoke rotation from RR.Qeon up top, but instead Titan just used the Moonlight Shadow and back away pretty quickly. There's the smoke pop by RR.Qeon. Is they're going to rotate up, try to find someone in this top jungle. Alchemist leads the way, and he's just been kind of shut down this game, as there's not been a good answer on him, as basically he's been kited every single fight. Chen in a lot of trouble, but they don't really see him. They do actually find him there, and he should be a very easy kill on Chen. And that should be a pretty easy tower in the mid lane if they want to go push it. As Queen of Pain's not really in position to defend, then that's the only lane where the creep wave is pushed out. But instead they're going to go play defensive and just continue to farm. And they have to feel that they're going to be able to take this late on the side of RR.Qeon, as they have the Timbersaw, they have an Alchemist, and they have the Ember Spirit. We're all incredibly powerful carries at this point in time. The big thing that's hurting Ember Spirit here is a lack of armor that's not base armor, as Elder Titan has done his job of really weakening him whenever he comes in the fight, and I don't see a whole lot of armor all around on the side of RR.Qeon. They have a bit on the Alchemist for mech, but in these engagements, that's all the armor they're going to have, is no one else has that much plus armor. Crystal Maiden has a little bit, but and Timbersaw has some from his reactive armor. But the Alchemist and the Ember Spirit basically get sent down to 0 armor, taking full damage from everyone on the side of Titan, and it's definitely something that's going to show in these later team fights. If they don't get a good initiation, the Mirana auto attack damage will be pretty significant. Queen of Pain has some great auto attack damage at this point, and it's only going to get better, especially if she goes for the Scythe of Ice. Mirana throws out the arrow, and it will actually land on the Ember Spirit, taking a ton of damage and really slowing down his farm. And it really just keeps Mirana safe, because I think she would have kept pushing out, though there's no real good way to engage on her at this point, as she has the Lincoln Sphere. Queen of Pain going to blink forward, continue to fight these creep waves, and just barely hit by the Sand King, but she will BKB and continue to kind of run around, doing a good bit of damage before blinking away, and that's exactly what you want to see out of Queen of Pain. Playing it really kind of calmly, just doing what you can and blinking out. It's a decent use of BKB, because she would have been easily destroyed if she didn't pop it. And Mirana is going to be caught out, but nice arrow and leap away. Beautiful reaction time, and she is able to get the Moonlight Shadow off. Dust is there, but the Elder Titan Stomp does some good damage, and the sleep perfectly placed to zone everyone out. Dust is popped, but Mirana is going to be sent home, and nothing on that engagement from RR.Qeon. Excellent disengage there from Titan, and that's exactly what you want to see out of them. That Stomp could not have come at a better time, as he basically zoned out the entire RR.Qeon team with that Stomp, with the exception of the Ember Spirit. And the Ember Spirit does not have enough damage against this Mirana. Stomp comes out again and just delays the push. As that's been the MO of Titan this entire game, is delaying the push and taking trades. As Queen of Pain is going to be able to destroy the tier 2 tower for free. And there's no answer. RR.Qeon doesn't have a team that can run up there and really fight at this point in time. Every single time they've tried to fight and dive a tower, it's been Titan with the kind of disengage into a kite. And that's exactly what the team's kind of built to do. They have Chen with several minions that are great at kiting. They have Rubick, who's really, really good at kiting. And Mirana, who's going to be pretty hard to kill at this point, with a Lincoln Spear and BKB. Fully expected to pick a Desolator up next, as that could basically shut down all the armor that comes out of RR.Qeon, as I don't expect them to pick up a whole lot of armor on anyone besides the Alchemist. as I expect him to fully go for Assault Cross next. As Roshan's going to go down, no real contention. Queen of Pain has picked up the Scythe of Eyes, so big items up on her. Elder Titan going for the BKB, and Chen should have a Scythe of Eyes up fairly soon, as he's just kind of waiting around to pick that up. And with all that crowd control on Titan, Recon's going to have a hard time actually engaging, as they don't have really great initiation outside of the Sand King just jumping in, as Alchemist doesn't have good initiation. He has the concoction, but since it's been nerfed, it's really hard to engage on that without a Blink Dagger. And considering he hasn't picked it up, he's not going for the Blink Dagger route. Desolator will be the next choice on Ember Spirit, meaning he's going to try and burst someone down. Though there is a fair amount of armor on pretty much everyone on the side of Titan, with the exception of Rubick and the Elder Titan, as they're basically going to be shut down to 0 or negative armor on their entire team. It's a great item at this point, as I don't see anyone on Titan building armor at this point. They don't really need to, as Ember Spirit is the pretty much only physical damage. Alchemist has some decent physical damage, but he's not built for it. He's basically gone for kind of a utility Alchemist, and it's not really working out so far, as he's not had any really opportunities to engage. They can kind of ignore him, as the only thing he does is throw that acid spray and mech. And I really think he needs the Assault Cross at this point if he wants to become and actually maintain relevancy. Elder Titan Spirit comes out, and it's just going to be to push this up. As Queen of Pain was forced to BKB, she runs in, does some good damage, and just going to continue to fight the Sand King, and might actually get a kill, and she will pick up the Sand King. Tried for a deny from the Crystal Maiden, but not enough damage. As 3v1, Queen of Pain picks up a kill, and shows off that new Scythe device, and this is one of the reasons why Queen of Pain is insanely powerful. The innate blink, and the ability to do massive amounts of damage. She's a great farmer as well, and is able to pick up that CC item without having to pick up too much defensively. And this is going to be really bad for the Ember Spirit. He's hexed up, no chance to survive, and splat he goes, as he just walked into the wrong place at the wrong time. No chance for him to survive, and they show off all their sheep sticks in that engagement, and this is looking really grim for Recon, as they don't have any answer to these sheep sticks. A little bit of a miss on the arrow, but Timbersaw will stay alive for now. Spirit will get the stomp off, and thanks to the Queen of Pain Shadow Strike, it is not going to be a long CC duration. That's the one weakness of any DOTs on an Elder Titan team, is they will break that sleep pretty easily. And that is going to be a very dead Crystal Maiden. She was hit with an arrow from a distance. Sand King has been caught out as well, and he's taking a lot of damage. He might go down to these auto attacks, and he will fall. They do lose the Aegis on the side of Titan, but it is nothing compared to what they've gained at this point. Two supports are down. Arrow flies, but just off the mark. And that's the tier 3 going down on the side of Titan. The Alchemist is going to try and get a concoction off, but it's blocked by the Lincoln Sphere. Ember Spirit is up. It should be able to enjoy this engagement, but that is already the melee racks down. Queen of Pain able to blink out thanks to the Moonlight Shadow, and she's just going to be sent back to base. This Chen doing real work this game, sitting at 6-1 and 8, and the Elder Titan preventing any initiation as the melee racks falls. Easy win for Titan, and they're looking to take this game at this point. Queen of Pain and Chen doing so much work. Mirana also, despite not getting kills, has done amazingly well this game, as she's basically initiated that engagement, picked off the Crystal Maiden before she could do anything. And without the gem, the Moonlight Shadow becomes far more effective, and they don't have that extra layer of lockdown, which they really needed. The Sand King also went down in that engagement without getting an ultimate off, and you just can't do that on for the Sand King. You pretty much have to stay back so far that you're not going to be engaged on. But that's really difficult with the Queen of Pain there, with multiple Scythe of Ice, so that he just doesn't have the ability to really get in there at this point. Rubick has stolen the Ember Spirit ultimate yet again, and I fully expect him to try and engage off of it, as it's a great ultimate to have. You can kind of throw it around to scout, you could use it to initiate or escape, as it's just a very versatile ultimate to pick up. As I think pretty much every skill Ember Spirit has is a good skill to pick up by Rubick, so he's a great pick against him. And this Ember Spirit just not felt particularly effective this game. He did great early, but kind of like the Templar Assassin analogy I used earlier, he had a great early and mid game, but just not enough kind of strength to carry it into the late game. Titan throws out the Astral Spirit, and it's going to do a little bit of work, just kind of harassing people out, but I don't think they're going to get to engage off of it. As Titan should easily just wrap around and push this top lane in. No reason to go to the mid lane. The mid lane is just too close to where they already have that racks down. If you push top lane, they have to rotate the entire way around the base on the side of Recon if they want to defend that second racks. Or the rage racks, excuse me. Rubick might be in a bit of trouble. As Sand King and Ember Spirit there, he will be engaged on, and Rubick should go down pretty easily. But he does just jump away. That's the power of having that Ember Spirit ultimate. And he's back in the fight, and this is going to be an easy kill on the Alchemist as he's taken out by Mirana. BKB popped by the Timbersaw, but not enough. Alchemist has had to buy back already. Ember Spirit does some decent damage, but not enough for the BKB. His damage is just not there. Sand King tries to engage, but he's already burned the ultimate, and it's just not enough damage. As Titan just continues to dominate these fights, Rubick has fallen, but with just Rubick going down, I would not be too worried. Mirana's in a lot of trouble, but there's just no damage. The Alchemist is being kited pretty much every second of the way. Buybacks have had to be used on the Alchemist and the Timbersaw already. And there's the stomp that basically says, back up. And with just Rubick falling, I call that a big win for Titan. We'll take a look at the graphs, and yeah, this has been all downhill on the side of Recon. They just have not been able to find anything, and these graphs look pretty much identical. And this has basically been all Titan since they picked up several kills in that bottom lane. And it's really been a dominant performance by Titan. Recon's had several opportunities, but I feel it's a mix of kind of item builds and just not finding these engagements and being a little overly aggressive. The Ember Spirit just didn't have enough mid-game oomph, I felt, this game to really carry it. If he'd gone Desolator then BKB, I feel he would have had that oomph to really push it and take the game. But considering what BKB first, he just never really had the damage to burst anyone down. And it's definitely played a factor in this game. Same with the Alchemist. The utility Alchemist is nice, but he's just not able to really do anything this game. Would have loved to have seen a Shadow Blade on him, and then the mech, as he could have rotated around, found a lot of kills, and shut down the Mirana or Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain does pick up the MKB, allowing her to basically right-click to victory at this point, as she is the highest and strongest carry in the game, and it looks like she's going for a Satanic for even more damage, and I love this choice. She already has great attack speed with the Orchid, and great damage with her 2 DPS items. Might as well do a lot. And it looks like there's going to be an Alchemist stun coming out, but it's not going to actually go on anyone. He's going to stun himself up. Ember Spirit already dead, as he just got murdered in that engagement. Timbersaw going to go down as well. Don't see any way he can get out of this. Sand King gets an ultimate off, but you don't even kill Rubick with your level 2 ultimate on Sand King. That should be good game. There was no hope in that fight for Recon, as they basically should GG it at this point. They just got too far behind on a very mid-game oriented team. The Ember Spirit did incredibly well throughout the middle portions of the game, just fell off based on his item build. It was a good showing by Recon. You just have to think it was an item build loss at this point. They didn't build enough for the mid-game. They didn't build enough to play aggressively as they wanted to, as they dove several tier 2 and tier 3 towers, and it just didn't work out overall. And it was really heartbreaking for Recon, as they definitely would have liked to win here. But major props to Titan for capitalizing and really kiting around Recon in most of these engagements. As this is Pander as part of the Join Dota League, just watching an epic match between RR.Qeon and Titan. Stay tuned if you want to see any of the keys to the game and some of the other highlights, as I will go through them really quick and show you exactly what were the big turning points between the games. Welcome everyone to the keys of the game, where we watch some of the highlights and big turning points in the game we just watched. Our first key to the game here is going to be the first blood in the mid lane. RR.Qeon does an excellent job of smoking up right away, considering their bottom lane was not going to be under any contest. Perfectly timed frostbite into a nice stun, continually nice stuns, and making sure the Alchemist got off to a good start against the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain makes a fatal error by trying to dodge into the trees instead of just running around. But she does come back pretty quickly, and the Alchemist does get to deny himself. And this really gets RR.Qeon off to a good start, and it allows them to get the Alchemist a bunch of extra farm and levels that they desperately need throughout the early to mid portion of the game. The next big key to the game is going to be a fight down bottom. The Alchemist is picked off very early thanks to a good smoke gank on the side of Titan. But RR.Qeon basically stays way too long in this engagement. They're pushing hard on that tower, but they're going to try and fight a very poor engagement. We're going to slow it down real quick to see exactly how this fight breaks out. Rubick gets bursted down fairly hard, but the Ember Spirit shield just does ridiculous amounts of damage. Sand King off to the side gets picked off by the Queen of Pain rotating in. Just a huge amount of burst. Crystal Maiden has no hope of surviving. And with 4 people down for absolutely nothing, not even a bit of damage on the side of Titan. And the Ember Spirit will live thanks to that haste rune. But it's not very pretty on the side of RR.Qeon. They had a good lead going into this, but just got overly aggressive in deciding to pursue that engagement. It was just not something they could afford to do at that point in time. The next key to the game is going to be a big smoke gank on the bottom by the side of Titan. They're going to run in here, and we're going to slow it down real quick. They do a ton of damage to this Sand King, but it looks like they just stop focusing there right at the end, which allows them to get a huge burrow strike off, hit most of Chen's creeps. He'll eventually go down, but he has time to pop the dust. He survives for so long and forces the Queen of Pain ultimate on just one. Crystal Maiden gets a beautiful freezing field off and lives for a bit longer, but it's just long enough for the rest of RR.Qeon to just burst down everyone. And this engagement will eventually lead to Mirana falling, so it's a 4 for 2. But it was just a very risky proposition on the side of Titan, not finishing off that Sand King in the beginning, and it really hurts them in the end. The fourth key to the game is going to be a big team fight in the bottom lane. Mirana gets caught out and takes a good bit of damage, and Ember Spirit engages very heavily, doing some great damage to Mirana, but Mirana gets a stun off a beautiful lift by the Ember Spirit. And it's just not enough damage to kill off this Mirana. She uses the wand charges, immediately gets him back. The Elder Titan does fall, but he soaks so much time and damage that the rest of Titan's able to really re-engage and deal a massive amount. Mirana uses another 12 stick charges to keep herself alive. Queen of Pain burst down the Ember Spirit, who popped his BKB very early in the engagement and was easily going to be popped by that Orchid. Up top, Sand King gets a good ultimate, but it only hits the Chen. Queen of Pain still had another second or two on her BKB, so she doesn't take full damage and eventually gets picked off. As the rest of the engagement continues, Rubick will eventually be able to pick up this kill on the Alchemist, as they basically just exchange CC and take him down. And it really just comes down to over-aggression on the side of RR.Qeon. Timbersaw will be picked off as well thanks to a beautiful arrow by Mirana, but you can't go that aggressively on the side of RR.Qeon. They're diving the tier 3 tower heavily when they still had a tier 2 up, and they could have easily backed up and taken it. And it was just a really big turning point in this game, as RR.Qeon could have just pushed the tier 2 tower and taken this fight later on, and they would have been in great shape. And as we can see from the graph, where this fight started at about 1,000 gold deficit, it's over 3,000 in terms of gold earned, and it's even worse in terms of experiences. You just see that nosedive from one single engagement. The final key to the game is a big play here by Rubick, as he's pretty much caught out by a beautiful burrow strike into a nice burst damage from the Ember Spirit, but he just teleports away using the Ember Spirit ultimate, and this leaves the Alchemist incredibly vulnerable, and he's going to be picked off very quickly in the engagement, Same thing with Timbersaw. He's forced to burn the BKB early and just can't get enough damage in at this point with all the BKBs going off. Ember Spirit didn't have time to set up this engagement. And while the Epic Center is good from the Sand King, it's not particularly great as it only really hits the Rubick. And there's no real damage coming out on the side of RR.Qeon. This forces another buyback on the Timbersaw. And they just can't keep up on the side of RR.Qeon, as this eventually just snowballs downhill from here, as Titan completely dominates the rest of the game. RR.Qeon did well overall, but they just didn't have the firepower or damage to match Titan overall. And it was a good game, but just not enough coming out from RR.Qeon. Thank you for watching this Gamecast by Pander. If you wish to see more, please check out my YouTube and Twitch links below. Thank you again for watching.